Hello YouTube, I am back with a new video. I told you I'd go through some books that would be helpful for your OCD and actually help with anxiety and depression. Mainly OCD though, it's a struggle with the most. I don't feel like showing my face today, so I'm wearing this. Sorry for that, so all you see is the eyes. Alright, now, as you all know, I struggle with scrupulosity, OCD. If you watch my other video, mainly pure O. I have some contamination issues. I struggle with a lot of repeating and things such as that, anxiety and depression. So here we go. Alright, the first book I would like to show you that is helpful yet scary is called The Imp of the Mind by Lee Baer. Now, it's exploring the silent epidemic of obsessive bad thoughts. Baer provides a compassionate and understanding voice for millions of people. Okay, so I say this is a helpful book. It is very helpful. But, you know, some of the exposure, the ERP, exposure response prevention, I believe that's the, I always forget that, but I always call it ERP. I'm sure you know what it is. It's just exposing yourself to it without taking the action and doing the compulsions or what you feel you need to do. So, well, the reason I say this is scary is because for someone with my types of OCD, some things that they tell you to do religiously are very, very, very scary. So, but I do recommend this book. It's a lot of stuff you don't have to do, but for example, this is very basic, but obsessions are intrusive and unpleasant thoughts, impulses, or images that are not excessive worries about real-life problems. That's this guy right here. Aggressive obsessions, sexual obsessions, blasphemous obsessions. That's me. Doubting obsessions. That's me. Contamination obsessions. Me. Symmetry obsessions. Perfectionistic obsessions. I struggle a little bit with that, not much. That was some obsessions, very basic. Compulsions are actions that the person feels driven to do over and over again, either because of an obsession or according to rigid rules. That's one thing I struggle with a lot. A lot of repeating, a lot of rules, rituals, the drill. Alright, the actions are done to reduce distress or to prevent something bad from happening. A lot of times with scrupulosity, that bad thing that is going to always happen is you're going to go to hell if you don't do this. Also, somebody in your family might die if you don't do this, or, a lot of times when I go into a store, if there's something laying on the floor in the middle aisle, I do this all the time. I'll kick it to the side or on the thing because my mind tells me that somebody's going to come in and trip over it and get hurt or die or something. Or if I don't put something on the shelf a certain way, it's going to fall on a kid's head. Obsessive, like, there's legit ways, but this is our ways, with the OCD. there's like it's just like kind of like, I don't want to call us crazy, but it's like a crazy idea that it's not going to happen. You know, if you don't do something, you don't necessarily know. Your mind's telling you already it's going to happen. This is going to happen. If you don't put this down right, this is going to happen. This bad thing will happen. Then we have to keep repeating it and repeating it until we get it right, until it feels good, until the anxiety goes down. Okay? Other thing, it's good to keep a level on your anxieties. So, and then when you do some kind of therapies where you try to ignore the ritual, the compulsion, the act that you feel that'll make things right, take some deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Sit there with it. Let the anxiety go down and rate your level in like maybe 10 minutes or so, and see how, you know, if that works for you. That's one thing one of my therapists tried to teach me. So okay, like I said, the actions are done to reduce distress or to prevent something bad from happening. Examples: washing, checking. A lot of people check the stoves. A lot of people lock the door over and over again. I do some things like that. Repeating. I do repeating all day. Pretty well. Not all day, but you know, repeating is a big one for me. Praying is a big one for me. Ritualized OCD praying, I'm talking about, not prayer from the heart. A lot of it's ritualized OCD prayer, where you feel like you have to do it or else something horrible is going to happen, like I'll lose my soul or something. And it's like I said before, it's OCD with that gun pointed to your head telling you have to do it. And I don't know if I mentioned, I just don't feel like showing my face today, so that's why I'm wearing this. So anyway, it has nothing to do with OCD or anything. I'm not trying to be funny guy or something. I just don't feel like it. It's just my self-esteem is just looks like that. So anyway, so we got repeating, praying, touching, counting, hoarding or saving things, rearranging or tidying up, and asking for reassurance. Asking for reassurance was a big one for me. It still is. It's actually the lessened a lot though for me, because like I said in my last video, I would go to the doctor all the time to get reassurance that I was okay. I would go to pastors to say, do I still have a chance to go to heaven, because I thought that I'd lost my soul. I had a pastor tell me once that as long as you're alive, you have a chance. And that's hard. It's hard for me to even grasp all the time, but with the scrupulosity, religious OCD, it's very hard to get that reassurance sometimes. But anyway, that's you know, this gives you warning signs. I believe this it just goes all into depression, even a little bit, post-traumatic stress disorder, and the scary part, where there's many it's called Vivo exposure therapy. Now, like, if your OCD is, now you gotta make sure it's truly OCD. Say you have see, some of this stuff I would not do. I don't recommend this part because it's very scary. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with doing in here, especially if you're a Christian. So let's just get on to the next book. It's another book by Lee Bear. It's called Getting Control: Overcoming Your Obsessions and Compulsions, with brand new sections on hoarding disorder. I struggle a bit with hoarding. The role of family in treating OCD. Okay, so family, friends. This is a tough one. When you have a family like mine that, downplays your OCD, or your mental illness, either they don't believe in it just because they don't have it. They think it's okay. They think everything's fine. That we should just get over it. That we should just move on with our lives and forget about it. It's not that easy, and I know that sometimes you may wish, I know that's horrible for me to say, but for one day, for them to be in our shoes on one of our worst days, just because that they don't support, they think, oh, I have OCD, I can go get a job. There are people that work with OCD. Some people are not strong enough, maybe, though, but OCD is a very disabling disease. Depression, anxiety, it's really hard, and my family doesn't really support me with it, so I'm pretty much on my own with it. I have friends that try to help. Nobody truly understands it, though, unless they're going through it, and it's very hard when nobody supports you. It's like, if I had that, I would just brush it off. No, you wouldn't. I can tell you right now, no, you wouldn't. So anyway, I'm getting off track. This book has a lot of good things in it. Trichotillomania, skin picking, Tourette syndrome, excessive bodily worries, hoarding disorder. That is getting control of problems related to OCD. That'll go. Trichotillomania, I think it's something that you do that is not good, like pulling your hair out, that makes you feel better to relieve something. But there's a good section here. Chapter 10 for family, friends, and helpers. Dealing with family members or friends who have OCD, dealing with family members or friends who won't get help for their OCD, and then also if you are asked to be a helper. This ain't gonna work for me because, like I said, they're not very supportive of me, my OCD, and that's why it's best for me to just stick with a therapist, a psychiatrist, and my medication. So this has also a section that you can test yourself and assess the type of your OCD symptoms, and you can measure the severity of them, and it goes on and on. Staying in control, how to use behavior therapy to get control of your symptoms. I like this author. Like I said, though, that first book, The Imp of the Mind, that I showed, this one, it scares me. A lot of the stuff leading up to when he gets to that Vivo therapy, exposure therapy, some of the things he tells you to do really kind of draws the line for me. So anyway, alright, so for those of you with scrupulosity, religious OCD, there's a book here that a priest, I believe, no, it was I believe I found this book on Amazon, The Doubting Disease. Now this book is by Joseph W. Chiariochi, but you can see it's right there. Help for Scrupulosity and Religious Compulsions. Highly recommended. It's got homework for you, worksheets, everything your little heart could desire if you're struggling like me with religious OCD. So now here's a, this is as far as I've gotten so far around this page, but there's a model of for development of scrupulosity. Strong belief, I don't know if you can see this, but it's like a chart, right? Strong belief that certain thoughts are dangerous and or unacceptable. The occurrence of these intrusive thoughts generates significant anxiety. We all know what that's like. Strong effort to suppress thoughts accelerates the frequency of these thoughts. That's true. Need to turn off anxiety by any means, mental or physical rituals. That's a lot of rituals we struggle with. Rituals are reinforced because they work to decrease anxiety, thus creating an endless loop. So the arrow goes down through all the steps that I read, then it comes back. Let me get over here a little bit. And it goes down, and it comes back over, and it starts again at the occurrence of these intrusive thoughts. And it's a very good book. Highly recommend this book. I give this a 5 out of 5. And there's a lot of helpful things in here, resources to help you get over religious OCD. So, good book. Alright, let's get on to this. Everybody's probably heard of this book. It's called The Boy Who Could Not Stop Washing. This book is by Judith L. Rappaport, MD. The Experience and Treatment of Obsessive-compulsive Disorder. So, I mean, this book is not really too helpful for me because I mostly struggle with religious, but there's some stories. There's a lot of stories in here of people's experiences with OCD. Here's one chapter that'd be good for Scrupulosity, called Innocent Sinners. But it has a lot of stories, and it does offer some help, I believe. So let's see these. Yeah, it does explain a lot, and it's good to read other people's experiences, but it's a very good book. I recommend that you get all the help you can, and if you read, I'm not a big reader, and I find hard to get the motivation to read, but if you really want to help yourself, these are some good books that I'm showing you. Okay, now the priest that I was seeing recommended this one for me. It is called 1,000 Frightening Fantasies: Understanding and Healing Scrupulosity and Obsessive-compulsive Disorder. It's by William Van Ornum. As you can see by the title, it's a lot about scrupulosity. Some therapies and suggestions for sufferers and helpers. Very good book. Highly recommend this one if you are struggling with scrupulosity. Amazon has a lot of these books. That's where I get my books. Okay, now I'll go to this book. See, this book I haven't gotten into much yet, but this is called, it's a workbook, and I think it's good to have homework when you can find motivation to do it. The homework, I call it homework, but the worksheets and things the therapists give me to do at home, the diaries, they're hard for me to keep up with because if I sit there and write down about my obsessions, my compulsions, my rituals, the time it took me that day, the SUDS level, which is, you know, your anxiety level, it just creates more OCD obsessions, compulsions for me. So I find it hard to do that, but it's always good to keep that that diary, and especially write down your symptoms. And there's numerous tests you can take online to see what you have, but always get the proper diagnosis from a doctor. But the Mindfulness Workbook for OCD. Now this is by John Hirschfield and Tom Corboy. A guide to overcoming obsessions and compulsions using mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy. So this will touch on many things. Contamination. Excuse me. The screensaver went up. Okay, contamination. There's acceptance, assessment, action section. Contamination OCD, responsibility, checking OCD, just right OCD, harm OCD, sexual orientation OCD, pedophile OCD, relationship OCD, scrupulosity OCD, hyper awareness OCD. This is part 2, mindfulness and cognitive behavior therapy for specific obsessions. There's a section for sharing your OCD experience, mindfulness and staying on track, and getting help. So, and there's a lot of homework in this book. Like I said, it's a workbook, and it's fun sometimes to do these kind of things, but you know, okay, so this is another good one. I highly recommend. Alright, we're going to get down to this one that I did probably the most work in, as you can see. So now my OCD won't let me write in the books because it feels like I'm ruining the books. My therapist even tried to talk to me about that was my OCD, but instead I wrote on notebook paper, or I had her photocopy the worksheet page because I don't want to make any markings in the books to ruin them. I mean, what if I made a mistake, you know? That's another thing I always, when it's something, most of the time I have to write with a pencil, because any kind of mistake that I make, it kind of ruins the whole notebook. And I've gone through so many notebooks if I make a mistake with a pen. And one time, as like a little exposure response therapy, she had me scribble lines throughout the notebook with a pen, and it drove me nuts. I don't know if I have it here. I'll show it to you next time, but I have to get, you know, new notebooks, and she noticed that I would come in with different notebooks, and that was one of my things that I struggled with. It's just not perfect, it's just not right, it's not, you know. Alright, so next book that I did most of my work in is the OCD Workbook by Bruce M. Hyman and Cherry Pedrick. Your guide to breaking free from obsessive-compulsive disorder. This is a lot like the other book. It has a lot of worksheets inside, things you got to write, you know, write diaries, dates, things you experienced. So when we go through the contents here, you know, there's a column, Chapter 1, What is OCD? A closer look at OCD is Chapter 2. Chapter 3, What can be done? Treatment options. Part 2, I'm not going to go through all these, but Primarily obsessed OCD, breaking free from horrific thoughts. Scrupulosity, when OCD gets religious. Hit and run OCD. Hyper responsibility. That's one I used to do. Hyper responsibility behind the wheel. Every time you hit a pothole, a bump, you always think you run over somebody in the car, and you got to go all the way back and check to make sure. I've done that several times, turned around and gone back. Health anxiety, hypochondriasis. It's like being a hypochondriac. That's the one thing that I struggled with. Every time a new disease or something came out, or a flu or something, I'd be afraid I was going to get it. And if I had any little symptom, that's the worst, horrible thing that I had. But I never really had it, any of that stuff. So, you know, that's always rushing. That's like my last video, my first video. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. I explained that I spent so many trips to the ER thinking everything was the worst. And it's so bad to look up your symptoms online when you have OCD anxiety. Alright, hoarding OCD, when you have too much stuff. Like I said before, I struggle a little bit with that, moderately, I guess. Not high, but you know. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maintaining your gains for the long haul. And then there's OCD and company, obsessive-compulsive spectrum disorders. It happens to children too, helping your child with OCD. OCD is a family affair, working together to overcome OCD. I'm not going to get the help I need from my family. Like I said before, they don't support me in that. That's why I'm doing these videos, to help and to try to be helped. Where to get help, how to find a good therapist, and other sources of support. So there is a little book down here somewhere. Oh, now this book, this one cost me quite a bit of money. It is, my therapist told me it is way too much for me right now. It's really made for people, I think. Is this it? Yeah. It's made for people kind of studying to become psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists. But there's this guy's name again, you know. He doesn't make a lot of books for no reason. This is called Obsessive-compulsive Disorders. It's the 3rd edition. It's by Michael A. Janik, Lee Bear again, and William E. Minichelio, if I pronounce that correctly. This is practical management, and it is mainly, I think, for people studying, but hey, it doesn't hurt to have all the helpful information you can get. Get it from their side, you know what I mean? But this book is something I'll wait, and I will at another time try, you know, to get into it. But for now, I'm looking for something. Excuse me. Okay. When I used to go to church on a regular basis, somebody gave me this book. It was before my scrupulosity, religious OCD got really super bad. And it was mainly me rushing off to the hospital all the time with my anxiety, thinking every little anxiety attack was a heart attack, or every little pain or something was the most serious thing. I never even really read this book. I just let it sit there. Like I said, I don't get a lot of motivation for reading. I skim through these books, and I find out useful things, and I read that. But I did get into some of this stuff, so I'm not coming in here blind for you guys. I'm trying to help. And but if you read any of these books, please put it down there. But this one, some guy came up to me. He was the pastor's brother, and he said this book helped him. You may think it's silly, you may laugh, but here it is. Anxiety and Depression for Dummies. Now, now that I look through it, it does look like it's pretty helpful. A lot of these books is just, it's all self-help. You know, self-help is very good. Like I said before, I recommend you find a good therapist, a good psychiatrist, and it's very hard when insurance is these days and they don't cover psychiatrist visits and stuff. I finally found one that does, and been seeing her for about a little over a year, and I kind of moved far away, so I haven't seen my therapist in a while, so I'm kind of going at it, you know, alone right now. And once I run out of medication, I will go travel back to see my psychiatrist. But yeah, it's only an hour and a half away. But I mean, for therapy every week, an hour and a half away, it's not gonna be good. It's too much money and gas and everything for me. But you know, it's just I'm here in my own apartment. I just moved in a few months ago, and you know how my depression always got to me anyway, but there's those lonely nights, man, and women, sorry. There's those lonely nights that just, they hit you hard, and those depressions where you're just you're really up, and then you just come crashing down, and the tears start flowing, and you can't sleep, and you're looking for anything that can give you some relief. But you know, it's good to just keep your mind occupied, and you know, try to keep fighting, even if it takes little baby steps. You know, order a book here and there. Check out these books I showed you if you're struggling with OCD. They're not all just religious. Scrupulosity, there's many types of OCDs they touch on in there. There's some apps that I found useful. There's one app that I actually bought, I think it was 99 cents, and it's called Being Life Simply. And I'll give you a look, a show. I'll let you show. Now, I would suggest this for anybody, really. No, I won't rate you right now. So you can. This is what many therapists have suggested for me to do for anxiety, which is called what is it called? I can't remember what it's called. Deep. It's like a meditation therapy, deep muscle relaxation therapy, but I can't think of the technical name for it. But this thing will put you to sleep. I'm not kidding with you. It starts out by, you know, relaxing every muscle in your body. You tense them, and then you relax them. It plays soothing music. He takes you through it. Oh, that's it. It's something like visual. If you know the name of it, I'm sorry, I forgot. But it's like a visual meditation also. And he takes you through a walk through a meadow, and you just sit there. And first, you relax your whole body. you feel light as a feather sometimes when you do this, and the music and him and the soothing voice and it's just, I highly recommend it. It's Bing Life Simply. That's a good one. And I had another one on here which it was good. It's a good app. It's called, I'm sorry, I should have been ready for this, guys. I don't know. Okay, OCD App Counselor. I've also purchased that. So this one's good because they're cheap too. I think they're like less than $1, I believe. So this one is it's like you can actually pick what you're going through, and then I believe I'm trying to wait for it to install again because I had it uninstalled on my phone. But and if it would hurry up, I think you could rate your anxiety, and it gives you suggestions on what to do. I don't want to open that. I want to open the other thing. Okay, so for example here, let me go back here. Sorry everyone. Now, as you wait forever for me. Alright, so OCD App Counselor. Disclaimer is there. Enter your name, blah blah blah. Matthew is my name. Alright. So, welcome Matthew. Gives you a rating. See how the warning lights, colors? Continual, very difficult to resist. Let's go to the most severe. Alright. Okay, so now it says use controlled breathing to reduce high levels of distress and turn off the flight or fight response. Okay, you guys know about the fight or flight response. A normal person, alright, this was explained to me by a therapist years ago. Someone with a normal flight or rewind. Alright. Someone with a normal flight or fight response. Someone with normal anxiety that's not, mentally ill, who doesn't have anxiety issues. Their anxiety. Okay, so when if you're in a jungle and the bushes rustle and a tiger pops out, your response is, your mind, yourself, flight, to run, or fight. Okay, so a normal person would stay down here, but when that happens, it would jump up, of course, and they would just probably run. But ours, when a normal person would stay down here, ours is always up here on the edge. We're always in that mode. That was explained to me by a therapist. So that's what makes it so hard for us to control these things that we go through. So, but a lot of these examples, I'm not going to read all this, but use controlled breathing to reduce high levels of distress and turn off the flight or fight response. This technique can help you calm down within 3 to 5 minutes. Make sure that you are in a safe environment and then focus on your breath. If possible, lie on your back. Sit in a relaxed position. Good airflow in and out of your lungs. Place one hand on your chest and the other hand on your stomach. Take a deep, slow breath into the nose for a count of 4. Make sure that the hand on your stomach is the one that is rising instead of the hand on your chest. Concentrate on filling your lungs completely. Exhale even more slowly. This goes through each step 1 through 4. Exhale even more slowly through the mouth for a count of 8. If you can't make it to 8, just make it slower than the inhale. Make the hand on your stomach go down during the exhale. Continue in this pattern for at least 10 breaths until you feel significantly calmer. Stop if you feel faint or dizzy. And then it says go to calming menu. Progressive muscle relaxation was one of them things I couldn't remember. It's right there. Here's some calming activity menus. Take 10 deep, slow breaths. Use progressive muscle relaxation. Imagine a peaceful scene. Listen to something relaxing. Physically release your anxiety. Use your spiritual resources. Somebody with, that I'm Christian, like I said before, and someone with OCD, with scrupulosity and religious OCD, that's very hard. But it does work, though. So, but be in the moment. Take good care of your body. Use your senses to calm yourself. Distract yourself with a hobby. I've even gotten told to go play my video games when I'm having an OCD issue. So this app is pretty good. And there goes that screensaver again. Alright, and so yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to be funny with the mask. I don't want to show myself today. But I do hope you guys were helped a little bit with some things I said. I was all over the place like as usual. But long video, long-winded. I just want, like I said before, I want to be helped, and I want to help others, and I want to relate to others that goes through the same things as me. My next video, I will try to write down everything that I go through, or most things, and maybe then we could relate some more. And I'm still trying to figure out this Windows Movie Maker widescreen, and I have all this expensive computer equipment and microphones and everything, and I can't even get my videos widescreen yet, and the YouTube upload thing is down, so, or something's wrong with it, and it keeps disconnecting my camera, so I couldn't use that. So excuse the poor qualities of my videos for now. I'll get that up and running. So I mean, but yeah, if anybody can relate to this, please send a comment, send a friend request on my other video. There is a link to my Facebook. If my Facebook gets too filled, I will make another page just for this channel. I want to relate to people. I want to help. I want some useful things to help me, some useful advice that maybe you have used. I wish everyone the best, all the best to you. Take care, and please like my videos and subscribe. I promise they'll get better. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next video.